But we noticed that there was a huge issue with launching tokens on Cardano to like beginning tokens. It's actually not user friendly in any fashion. And in those platforms, you generally can't trade or do anything like that. So we kind of been working on this for quite a while. So it's a token launching and trading platform. But basically, you're going to have a 24-hour timer. There's going to be a capped raise, a very small amount of ADA, and then everyone can participate into this. Like it's open to everybody. And then if the token hits its cap, it goes straight to the DEX. The LP gets burned, and if it doesn't reach the cap after 24 hours, everyone gets their money back. So the idea is that no one ever gets their hands on the LP. No one can ever rug that liquidity from you. It's a very safe way to launch a token, safe way to get into participating in new tokens. And with the refund mechanic, we think that uh, it'll garner a lot of interest. So you can put it into the race and then go about your day. And then if it launches, it launches, and then everything goes well. Or if it doesn't launch, you get your money back.
Good morning, Ada Nation. Welcome to Dapp Central, your home for everything blockchain and crypto. As a part of today's video, we're talking about a pump.fun alternative dropping here in the Cardano ecosystem called Rocket, launched by the official JPG.store team. To dive into all the details that Rocket brings forth, I'm being joined by Travis, the head of partnerships. Without any further ado, Travis, welcome up. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great, Fareed. Thanks for bringing me on. You're my current favorite Cardano YouTuber. Don't tell anyone.
Well, hopefully that stays that way for the long term, not just the current for the month or for the week. But no, seriously, I appreciate that so much. It means a lot. Super
Nope.
happy to have you here, man.
Awesome. I'm stoked to be here. You're the first person doing this interview for, and now no one else will probably have me on now if you're my favorite.
Well, I was gonna say that. I was like, I know we've chatted before.
Mhm.
I've released personal content about JPG.store, but I haven't actually had a member or a rep here on the channel. So you're doing, I think, a huge service here to me, number one, but then also to the viewers. But then you've also not cut any corners. So I love your setup. Looks like you're ready to dive into Rocket. And so I guess without any further ado, what is Rocket, or maybe before even Rocket, like how did you get to JPG.store, and what is head of partnerships?
Sure. So, geez, how long do we have? So, JPEG Store, has been around a long time, and I was pretty active in the Cardano scene even well before NFTs were a thing. More so on Twitter. When NFTs came out, I started my own YouTube channel actually, and I did that for a while. And then when JPEG launched, I was always DMing Blake, like when it was like no one was using JPEG. I was like, hey, it was just like frustrated user comments, like, hey, I don't like this about CNFT IO. JPEG should do this, JPEG should do that, JPEG should do this. And then eventually he was just like, you want a job? And then I got on there as community manager and moved up from there. But like not to get in too much about me, but like that was quite a long time ago. Head of partnerships is a title. I do a lot of marketing, I do a lot of PR, copy, networking. It's like a small startup, you wear many hats. So I feel like everyone has like 3 or 4 jobs inside a small tech startup. So but JPEG
Nice.
Store it's been a wild ride. I almost been there 3 years now. We've almost been live 3 years. It's been a crazy road. I feel like the past 3 years of Cardano feels like 10 years. I don't know about you, but I feel like time moves slower or
It
faster. How's that work? Like it's
it
crazy.
Yeah, it sure does. It's almost like dog years, right? And one thing I do have to give you guys kudos for is how adamant you guys are about attending events. So you mentioned, you guys have been here
Mhm.
for a little bit over 3 years. I remember seeing you guys. I met you, Blue, and a few other members. This was back in Vegas for the first ever NFTX LV. I saw you guys again at last year's Rare Bloom or Rare Evo, however you want to call it. And of course, this year we got to catch up very briefly this time at Caesar's Palace. So you guys definitely do make an effort to be visible and to be seen, right? I think that's half of the battle when it comes to this.
I think it's really important. Like I think like the space is so digital and without human touch, I think like these events are like really paramount. I think you need to have some presence, connect with the other, especially the other teams in the scene. There's only like 100 or so, 200 projects building. Like you got to get in there and meet the founders, co-founders. A lot of times you have the same issues with networking and building and getting funding and blah blah blah. Like there's a million things to talk about. I wish I could show you what's behind it's all my lanyards hung up. I think there's about 15 or 16 there. So we're very pro conferences, and it's paid off very well for us for contacts and hiring and just outreach in general. It's been good.
Yeah, I could only imagine, and funny enough, I actually have a same
There you go.
wall in my room where I've got all of my lane user badges from all of my prior events. So pretty cool to hear that I'm not the only one that does something like that. Again, it's always good to like go back, look at them, and just sort of reminisce about those events. All right,
For sure.
Travis, I think that's a great intro here. We've sort of broken the ice, laid down the foundation. For anybody who just wants to find out more about JPEG.store, I'll leave the links to all of their socials and everything down in the video description. Now, you're joining me today to discuss Rocket by JPEG. Yeah, do you mind starting off by just briefly explaining, what is Rocket and what's the goal of something like this?
Sure. So, like you kind of compared it to Pump.Fun, and I think the initial part of Rocket will kind of be like that. But our goal was to never clone Pump.Fun or make it a like direct competitor or that kind of style. But we noticed that there was a huge issue with launching tokens on Cardano to like beginning tokens. It's actually not user friendly in any fashion, and in those platforms, you generally can't trade or do anything like that. So we kind of been working on this for quite a while. So it's a token launching and trading platform, but it's like going to have a bit of unique style. The first version of Rocket, we're kind of framing it as a beta where it will be more focused on meme coins for sure, lower cap coins. But basically, you're going to have a 24-hour timer. There's going to be a capped raise, a very small amount of ADA, and then everyone can participate into this. Like it's open to everybody. And then if the token hits its cap, it goes straight to the DEX, the LP gets burned. And if it doesn't reach the cap after 24 hours, everyone gets their money back. So the idea is that no one ever gets their hands on the LP. No one can ever rug that liquidity from you. It's a very safe way to launch a token, safe way to get into participating in new tokens. And we feel like it's gonna be quite fun. And with the refund mechanic, we think that uh, it'll garner a lot of interest. So you can put it into the race and then go about your day. And then if it launches, if it launches and then everything goes well, or if it doesn't launch, you get your money back pretty much at the end of 24 hours. So we think it's like a different take in the platform, Pump That Fun and how that works. And then later we'll transition into much more customizable launches and more of a full scale Launchpad eventually, where you don't have a cap raise, where you can set higher limits and things like that. But like the first iteration of this will be a very much hard coded small cap timer, just to test the platform out, basically.
There's a couple of directions that we can go in here. I think what I would maybe love to dive into first is security, and then we'll come back and maybe discuss onboarding and sort of how projects can take advantage of launching on Rocket.
Sure.
From a security standpoint, you've mentioned the refunds. I think that's a great start in terms of like mitigating risk, right?
Mhm.
Because again, there's probably going to be hundreds, if not thousands, of potential launches taking place here. Is there smart contracts involved in any of this? And if so, can you maybe break down if they've been audited, who's developed them, et cetera? And if there aren't any smart contracts, is that something that you guys are planning on adopting in the future?
Sure. No, it's fully smart contract. So like we get our hands on nothing, and we want to make that a point where like at no point JPEG holds these funds. It all goes in a smart contract. At the end of that smart contract, once the cap is raised, it's all done to a DEX and the LP sent to a burn wallet. So absolutely fully smart contract and decentralized. And like we didn't want to be custodying funds either. So that was a large part of that. The it's going under a full code review right now. We built it ourselves, all our backend devs at JPEG Store, same people who built all the other contracts at JPEG Store over the years as well. And the audit will be taking place as we get closer to the finish line.
Perfect. And speaking of the finish line, I think that's the next question. You
Sure.
know, when testnet or
Mhm.
even when mainnet, do you guys plan on doing a soft launch and giving the community early access to test? If so, how will that work? And if not, when can we expect for this to just be available, generally speaking?
Sure. So I don't believe we're going to do a public test net. That's not in the cards. Like we're just going to do a really heavy internal test and then just kind of go to live and then kind of go from there. It is like, I wouldn't say it's a simple product. That's kind of a lie, but like it's not a crazy amount of things. Like JPEG Store is like millions of images, thousands of collections, and there's a lot more going on. But like with this platform, it's like a lot more focused, and we can really QA it really well internally to see. But like we are quite soon. I'm not going to say date, but weeks. Like we are in QA right now for the main. Like everything's pretty much built. We're just tying the last few things together, testing things out, ironing out what's wrong, and but we're very 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 close. Like you'll see a lot of things coming next week and hopefully mainnet very soon.
Perfect. And hopefully for the viewers, they can sort of piece things together, right? Because typically I don't get people
Mhm.
on for interviews unless things are about to drop. And so the fact that like we're here, we're chatting, and this will be going on in the next couple of days lets me know that this is probably no more than a couple of weeks at the latest from launching. So
Yeah, it's definitely in the weeks. Like I want it live today, obviously, but of course we're waiting. I think even if it was ready like tonight, I think we would still wait for the hard fork tomorrow and just see what bugs could be ironed out with the chain. We built it fully to be ahead of the hard fork anyway, right? So
and that's actually a really good point that you raise. I mean, dropping a product at such a pivotal time, right?
mhm.
Like outside of what you guys are building with governance. I mean, I'm sure that that's taken a toll, and you guys have maybe said, "Hey, let's make sure that we are future proof." So yeah, I think for me personally, I would actually love to see a drop after chain. That way, I know, hey, you guys have hopefully done your due diligence to make sure that it's compatible.
For sure.
Um, but that said, let's jump back a little bit. One of the other
Mhm.
questions I wanted to dive into was onboarding. From a project's perspective, how do they get access to Rocket? Will this be, fully non-custodial, or do you guys maybe plan on sort of breaking down who has access early on and then opening it up to the general public in the future?
No, the plan is to be like, the ethos of Cardano. This is going to be fully open, decentralized, as little contact as possible. The whole point will be so easily to launch a token. You could do it in 30 seconds. You could just go in, put in your parameters, click go, and then start your own raise for whatever purpose it would be for. For we have an early access sign up, so we are going to do something like for the first day for early access. So make sure you visit rock.store and put in your email to get the early access. But after that little day or period, it's just everything should be fully open. I think once we go down the road a bit and we get to a little more custom launches and larger raises for serious DeFi projects, things like that, there will probably be a lot more communication, set them up a custom sale, things like that. But in the meantime, everything should be fully open to everyone and fully hands off. And that's kind of the whole point. We don't think there should be barriers for you to start a token launch of your own name. I think like you can do it all now on Cardano, of course, but it's like overly manual. You have to use 2 or 3 different places and piece it all together, and it's a bit tangly, right? So we're trying to just refine that whole experience so that if people just want to launch a token for any reason, they'll just use Rocket, and they'll be able to trade those tokens too on Rocket, which is another big point.
Interesting. So it's not just going to be a launch pad, it'll actually be a trading platform. Do you
Absolutely.
mind breaking down what other features come with Rocket outside of just the launches themselves?
Sure. So you're kind of watching the launch happen on Dapp coin, and then as soon as Dapp coin hits its cap, the page refreshes into the trading screen, and you can trade it like on any other normal trading platform. And this is a total custom trading UI we've made ourselves. So this will be like fairly early on for us, but we plan to add a lot more features to this trading, make it a much better experience. From launch, we're basically just using most of Tap Tools data and API and a lot of things we built custom from Sundaeswap. So we're using a bit of everyone in the space to create our own custom trading platform for launch. But yeah, it'd be everything that gets launched on Rocket. You could trade on Rocket. So at launch, we won't have like other tokens, like you won't be able to buy or trade World Media token, but we plan on adding all that shortly after launch.
Got it. Now, you just mentioned a partner, Sundaeswap, and they seem to have their hands in seems like everything
Yeah,
nowadays, right?
I don't
From
think Pi
do
sleeps.
I mean, that's great for business. That's
Yeah.
great for business. But they're obviously working with you guys as well, right? So, that said, if I'm not mistaken, they're an exclusive Dex launch partner. Can you break down what that means and what exclusivity they're receiving from Rocket?
Sure. So we've had a good working relationship with Sunday Labs for a very long time with Pi. He's done a lot of auditing for our contracts. He built the claiming engine on JPEG, and he's done like a ton of other work for us. So we've always had this great relationship, and we were kind of not shopping around, but looking around for what decks to launch with this because we just want to build it simply at first to make it like a great working product. And we have a great relationship with Sunday, and we really like the Sunday V3 protocol that they come up. We believe it's like the most secure, and it's really fast and it's just great. And they've worked all the kinks out of it now. And We just kind of want to have this mutual thing. So every token launched and traded on Rocket will just all be through Sunday V3. That doesn't mean we won't add more dexes in the future, for sure. Like we're open to that. There's no like it's the exclusive launch, but like we're not like only going to have Sunday for 3 years or something. It's open to add more in the future, but right now there's no plans to add anything but Sunday in the immediate future.
Got it. That's fair.
Mhm.
The next thing I want to jump into is tokens, NFTs, and fees and just revenue, right? So
Sure.
as a project, obviously Rocket has to stay funded somehow, right?
Yes.
How do you guys plan on generating revenue? Will there be a Rocket platform token? Will there be NFTs associated with, discounts, perks, benefits? I'd love to hear a little bit more about the business model if you could.
Yeah, sure. So there, at this moment, there's no plans for any token. There will be no NFTs. None of those fundraising mechanisms. Basically, we just have like small fees added on to transactions when you launch a token, and small fees added on to trading on the platform. So it's just going to be to revenue. We're gonna have to have the platform be successful, and but we're quite confident in it, and basically the whole team is on it, and like I said, we have no plans to do any other sort of fundraising.
Got it. Now, you're pretty clued into the Cardano ecosystem.
Yes.
So I'm sure you've heard about
Sure.
Fun.
Mhm.
And I think there is the Saturn swap version. I don't recall the name.
Liftoff.
There you go. And that said, right,
Mhm.
I don't necessarily want to pitch you against them. I don't
Oh,
know
of
how
course.
your relationships are and sort of what each one of you are hoping to fulfill in terms of like product market fit. But what would you say maybe differentiates, what you guys are building from some of those other products as well? And again, this is assuming that you understand how they work, right? You're obviously not building those products.
Of course.
So your understanding may not necessarily be, 100%. So I do want to at least give the listeners
For
that
sure.
caveat.
Oh, like, yeah, like, I'm fully in the trenches, as they say, and, fully in sync with what everyone else is doing. I think that's always really important. I think Snack.fun launching, they said on the 3rd, it's quite exciting. They're basically copying Pump.fun, which is, if people don't know, it's literally the most lucrative platform in crypto. Like, it generates more fees than Ethereum at the moment. Like, it's kinda crazy how much money those guys are making. Right? So, uh, but like for us, like the ethos of building Rocket was like, I actually don't think there's that many barriers anymore to go trade on Pump.fun. Like if you're in Cardano and you want to go trade on Salt, like 3 years ago, it was like a tangle, right? But I think everyone still around is so used to using like simple swap or fixed float. They can get Sol in 10 minutes. They can download Phantom and they can go trade on Pump.fun. So I think a lot of our users already have access to Pump.fun. So when we were building Rocket, I was like, let's build it something a little more market fit to Cardano, something a little more Cardano ethos based, and a little more, I don't know, like safer and just a little different. Like we didn't want to build the exact same thing. So like those guys are kind of building the same thing, and I'm sure it's going to work great. And I actually think both will be used in unison or all three. Like I think people are just going to use all the platforms. But at Rocket, we really like the idea of getting the refunds. Like it's like safer to get in, and like it's just lower risk in general. And you have to be like with Pumped Up Fun, like if you buy a token, you can barely go make a sandwich before you get nervous about if you should sell your token or not, right? So we try to get away from that a little bit where you can like subscribe to launches, get in there and then go about your day. And then if it does well, you come back later and if it doesn't do well, you get your money back. So we try to make this platform just like different on purpose. But I think where we're going to be different, and Snack will be pretty much Pump. I think everything can kind of work in unison together.
Yeah, a little bit of the more degen side, and then if you
Sure.
maybe are a little bit risk averse, you can jump into Rocket. And to be honest, I mean, I think the refund feature so far is like my biggest highlight because I have seen so many sales that take place, and by the time that the sale's done, I mean, there's little to no interest or little to no liquidity, and like you're forced to still have to go through with that, and that's not
100%.
necessarily an ideal experience. And you also touched on the fact that like within Pump.fun and just the Solana community it is like dog eat dog out there. Yesterday,
Crazy.
I just jumped on there and I was on a deck screener. And in the matter of a launch to like when the token was completely like dead, it was
Hmm.
like 35 to 40 minutes. Like this thing went live. It went from
Yeah.
maybe like 5 or 6 holders to 1,500 holders. And there's transactions coming in every single second. I stepped away, just like you said. I went to go do my own thing, and I wasn't trading this token. I was just watching it. And I came back and there was just one huge candle, like minus 95%.
Mhm.
And that was it. It dropped back down from 1,500 holders back to like 10 or 15 holders. And that was it. Like that was the end of the story.
That's
I'm
it,
just
and
like,
that
man,
happens every 3 seconds, and it's
that's so
crazy.
tough.
So
Yeah.
we're
I mean, go ahead. Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, 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 and, like, I think, like, it's so bot heavy now on Pump.Fun. It was, like, something like 95% of the Pump.Fun transactions are bots now, and, like, bots are even losing money. I read this big, like, dive where if you don't even have a good bot anymore, you're getting murdered by the better bots, on Pump.Fun. So it's like a bot war and, like, the people caught in between, and only something like 5% of any user on Pump.Fun actually comes out in the green at any amount, and it's, like, less than 1% make, like, over $1,000. Like, so it's a crazy war of a platform, and I think meme coins are just crazy at the moment. But like everything going on with Pup.Fun is completely crazy. But like I think things just happen a lot faster there for Solana Speed versus Cardano at the moment. So it's gonna be interesting to see how one really looks like, how Snek looks like, and how Rocket looks like on Cardano. And in general, I think I'm just kind of hoping for everyone to win because like Cardano just needs more volume, needs more users. Like everyone just needs more people on the chain, and we're hoping for everyone for sure.
Yeah. I think this will be a nice new era to jump into for Cardano because we haven't historically had features and tools like this.
No, and you know what? I personally feel like the past few weeks, like in the trenches, I think everyone's just kind of bored. So I think like a lot of the alt tokens on Cardano have been tanking, and like not a lot of crazy things are happening on Twitter. Charles didn't tweet for 3 days, and that's like what everyone talked about. I think we just kind of missing something to do and play around with right now while the market is slower. So I think Rocket and Snack.Fun, I think this is gonna be like a great place, like something for people to just get on and trade and have fun with for a few hours, every day, or there's something for people to do. It's kind of what I believing at the moment.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this and would love to have you back on once the actual
Sure.
platform launches to break down and highlight how people can, number one, get access, number two, create a launch, and then number three, as you mentioned, actually trade on the platform. That said, I feel like generally speaking, we've covered quite a bit here, right? We've talked about the development, the security, etc. Is there
You,
anything else that you maybe want to discuss? Go
yeah,
ahead.
I could drop some alpha. So we're
I'm
announcing a feature later today. So it depends when this video gets out. If you're all ears. So one like really key feature that we're gonna hopefully differentiates Rocket is we're gonna launching Rocket Rewards is what we're calling it at the moment. So a lot of like platforms reward the creator of the token. Like I believe Pumped Up Fund pays them like $100 or something now if it hits the bonding curve. But we kind of felt that a token hitting the bonding curve is a lot more than just the creator. It's like the hundreds of people that got into it. So basically, we're gonna do uh, take all the trading fees from the LP and kind of share it in a way with everyone who got in on the initial launch. So if you got in on the initial launch, you'll actually earn fees for quite a while afterwards. I mean, if you don't hold the token anymore. So we're going to be basically rewarding everyone who got in on the launch with the token, which is quite exciting. So you'd be able to go in it every day. If a token does well over, if a big token launches, Nike, Snack kind of style, that'll be quite a bit of fees that you've earned over the time. And you'll be able to track all that on Rocket eventually.
Perfect. You used an interesting word there, which is the bonding curve. For
Yeah.
anybody who isn't knee deep in trading, can you break down what that
Sure.
is and sort of the impact that it has on the longevity of a token?
Right. So, like, we're not using a bonding curve to be clear, but like Pump.Fun uses a curve where, like, if you buy at the beginning of the raise, you actually get more tokens for your money. Then it's like a curve, and then towards the top of the curve, like at the end of the raise, you get less tokens for your money. But Rocket is the differentiator. What Rocket is, we're just doing everyone gets the same amount, so there's no bot advantage. We found a big problem on Pump.Fun that all the bottom of the bonding of every token is usually bots that get front run. So it's really, really hard to get in early. But if Rocket, if you just participate in the launch, you're getting the same price as everybody. So there's no real bot advantage here. If you get in with Rocket, you pay the same price. We're keeping the caps low so that people will still they'll still hit the cap. But yeah, so that's
Got
kind of
it.
the difference.
Got it. I appreciate the alpha. I definitely
Yeah,
appreciate the alpha. And again, look forward to seeing this platform launching live. You guys have been doing a great job so far in terms of marketing. I'm actually subscribed as one of those early testers or early participants. So looking forward
awesome.
to seeing more communications on that. Travis, as we get ready to let you go here, for anybody who wants to join the community, you shared a link earlier, rocket.store. I'll leave the link to that down below. Anything else they can do, right, to either get in contact with you or just get early access to the platform when it goes live?
Sure. So the early access is signing up on rocket.store. You can follow Rocket on Twitter at Launch on Rocket, and you can follow the JPEG Store Twitter. We will be ramping up our tweets a lot, and we will be doing a lot more for early access. And expect an email on Monday or so about everything that's going to be going on. But yeah, just basically follow us on socials, get involved. We have like a super fun Discord. We're kind of saving it to right before launch. So I think there's kind of a gap in the market as well as like a meme coin central DeFi trading Discord in Cardano. So we're really hoping to like fun all of that audience into our Discord with various activities and prizes and competitions. We're going to be doing a huge competition as well when Rocket launches. So it's exciting times. Just stay involved. Like I said, follow on Twitter is the best place.
Perfect. Traders unite. Travis Bailey here,
Sure.
head of partnerships, joining me from JPEG.store, now representing Rocket by JPEG as well. Thank you so much here for your time, Travis. Again, I'll leave everything that we've discussed, or the official links to everything that we've discussed, down below for you, the viewer watching at home. If you found any portion of today's interview to be information or just insightful, right, I would really appreciate you if you could smash that thumbs up. Not only does it help to help me here as a content creator within Cardano, it also helps to get this content and to share this outside the ecosystem to let everybody else know what we're actually building here in the Cardano network. Second, if you appreciate content like this and want more of it, consider subscribing to the channel. And last but not least, if you have any questions for me or Travis as it pertains to JPEG.store, Rocket, how to get access, etc., then make sure to leave a comment down below. That said, and as always, we'll see you all in the next video. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers. Thank you. Have a good one.